All right, guys. So I think we're headed towards a very, very, very interesting time in our country in regards to the legal battle between states and the federal government over this vaccine mandate. Now, this comes as Southwest Airlines, the CEO, they're going out here and doing damage control. They're going on TV, giving interviews, saying, hey, you know what? These disruptions, right? All the flight cancellations from this weekend, that didn't have anything to do with the vaccine mandate. The pilots are not on strike. It is simply the fact that we have a lot of our business, a lot of our flights go through Florida, and because of the bad weather and the issues with air traffic control and all types of other stuff, it disrupted a lot of our flights around the country because of what happened in this one location, right? That's what he's saying. But you know, some people are just not buying it. As word on the street is that, you know, there is some labor action going on here, right, between the pilots and the company. Right now, these rumors have reached the average everyday American, as you know, you can see videos of people like Black China, right, basically having a few words to say about people who are unvaccinated.
So go get the fucking vaccine and stop being stupid.
Right, so obviously she's upset about what's going on at airports and what's going on with her flight, right? She's upset. She's not having it. Okay, so yeah, because people are upset, these companies, right, and the union themselves have to come out here and do damage control to explain what's going on. But before we get into that, I gotta give my disclaimer here, like I give on every single video about this topic. I am not making claims about the vaccine, the pandemic, the mask, the virus. I'm not making claims about anything whatsoever, right? Please consult your doctor if you have any questions about the mask, the vaccine, the pandemic, the virus. If you have any questions about anything whatsoever, please consult your doctor or your trusted medical professional. I am simply having a conversation about public policy and public policy only. I am not making any claims. Now, let's roll the clip of the Southwest CEO trying to do damage control and say, hey, there's no strike, there's nothing like that, and essentially also trying to blame Biden for the mandate, basically saying that the feds made him do it. Take a look.
Didn't really see that much cancellations from other companies in your industry, but there's a lawsuit that was filed. Southwest Airlines Pilots Association. It's in the Northern District of Texas. And what disturbed me about it earlier this year is they say that basically you're using illegal tactics or a form of asymmetrical warfare negotiations. Gary, you know when you read this, and then you read about the Texas governor who says, listen, we're going to be against mandates. I see, well, wait a second, maybe vaccines are an issue, maybe labor problems, of which Southwest Air has not historically had. So you understand how we quickly just pivot from Florida and FAA to wondering what happened here with the pilots.
Well, yeah, again, I think that we're uniquely affected because we have so many of our flights that touch Florida. All the airlines were impacted on Friday. It was just more of an impact on us, and it just took us longer to recover. But all of our employees worked very hard through the weekend, and it's tough on our customers, but it's also tough on our people. So they did a phenomenal job. There's absolutely no issue in working with our employees. Talking about the vaccine mandate, oh yeah, I mean, there are some that have very strong views on both sides of that issue. And, you know, it's not, as I think you probably know, I've never been in favor of corporations imposing that kind of a mandate. I'm not in favor of that, never have been. But the executive order from President Biden mandates that all federal employees and then all federal contractors, which covers all the major airlines, have to have a mandate, a vaccine in place by December the 8th. So we're working through that. We're urging all of our employees to get vaccinated. If they can't, we're urging them to seek an accommodation, either for medical or religious reasons. But my goal, obviously, is that no one loses their job. The objective here, obviously, is to improve health and safety, not for people to lose their jobs. So, yes, we have some very strong views on that topic, but that's not what was at issue with Southwest over the weekend.
All right, so you see there, again, he's denying that there's any issues with the pilots, right? But he's also saying, hey, man, listen, bro, don't blame us, dog. We're not for the mandate, okay? We're not for that as a private company. However, Biden made us do it, right? Biden made us do it because the airlines suck off the government's teeth. Okay, that's how they survive. And this is what I try to tell you guys about these airlines, right? I don't think this industry would exist without the government. Okay, it's one of the most heavily subsidized private industries that we have. Okay, it just is. I mean, people want to talk about corporate socialism, bro. Airlines is corporate socialism 101. Okay, they love the taxpayer dollars, right? They love the taxpayer dollars, right? And when you are beholden to the government, you essentially become an arm of the government. That means you have to do whatever the government tells you, or else the government can cut off your funds, right? The airline industry, particularly, probably would not be able to survive without government funds. Now, some people are saying that this Southwest CEO can't use the Biden excuse, right? The mandate excuse, because the mandate is not really a mandate as much as it is a rule that applies to companies in order to keep their workspaces safe and free of infection. There's numerous ways in which these companies can stay compliant, right? And that includes testing, tracking, not just vaccines, in order to be in compliance with Biden's rules, right? So this could be the case that this Southwest Airlines CEO could be using Biden's mandate as a cop-out. But regardless, this is why I'm always leery of the so-called progressives that always call for more government intervention, right? We need universal this, universal that, more government control. Well, again, more government control means that you are at the whims of the government if they're controlling the industry, right? This is why, I'm not for universal healthcare and universal college and all this stuff that the progressives want the government to control. Now, speaking of government funds, the president of the Southwest Pilots Airlines Union, I believe that's what it is, actually was pressed about this, right? He was asked on CNBC, the same network, about how these pilots have essentially a obligation to fly because they took money from the American people, the taxpayer, in the last bailout. Take a look.
Hey, Casey, I know that you and the airline have said that this is not related to protesting vaccine mandates, but the union did sue effectively to block such a mandate. Can we discuss that for a moment? Because I think there's a question about what the role of pilots should be. As you know, pilots were a beneficiary during the pandemic of taxpayer bailout money. The airline and the pilots and flight attendants all sought that money at the time, even when they weren't flying. And so, and the argument at the time was that was going to, quote, help society. We were trying to help society, and that money was needed to get to those people. What are the pilots prepared to do, if not take the vaccine, to, quote, help society at this point?
So I think the two are mutually exclusive. The vaccine mandate and where we are with the lawsuit is really just to get the company to sit down and talk to us and discuss some of our issues that our peers have done, and we see where their vaccination rates are. So all we're trying to do is to get them to sit down and talk to us, which we haven't seen. We've been pushing them for 10 months to do that. Pilots have to maintain a medical certificate as well as their pilot certificate. So we want to sit down and address how that is going to be affected, how our long-term disability, how our loss of license insurance is going to cover. We also have to address, sort of natural immunity, antibodies, alternative means of compliance. There's many things that we need to discuss. Now, real quickly, going back, and as I say, they're mutually exclusive, the job action idea, now that we're at Tuesday, looking back at what happened this weekend, our pilot sick rate was right in line with what we saw this summer during the same kind of meltdowns. We also see our pilots picking up almost at an all-time high. So our pilots are there supporting. So the two are really different. We're just trying to get the company to sit down with us and discuss these issues to make our pilots feel at ease and make a decision to go out there and get vaccinated or not. We haven't.
Are you encouraged?
All right. So you see that, you heard that the president of the pilots union for Southwest Airlines is essentially making an argument that, well, listen, this is not necessarily about not wanting to get vaccinated. It's more about crossing our T's and dotting our I's when it comes to things like long-term disability, right? And having discussions in regards to how this is actually going to work, right? How our labor contract is going to work. That's what he's saying, right? And this is interesting, okay, because they are continuing to deny, right, that there's any type of labor action happening, just like the CEO of Southwest Airlines is denying what is happening, right? So they seem to be at sort of a standstill with each other over this, right? However, there is something coming down the pipeline from Texas Governor Greg Abbott that could throw a wrench into what the Biden administration is, according to Southwest Airlines CEO, is saying is forcing them to do, right? Is, again, Texas Governor Greg Abbott bans any COVID-19 vaccine mandates, including for private employers. This is why I say, guys, this is going to turn into a huge legal battle, right? States versus the feds, okay? This is what it's going to turn into. Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Monday issued another executive order cracking down on COVID-19 vaccine mandates, this time banning any entity in Texas, including private businesses, from requiring vaccinations for employees or customers. Guess what, guys? Guess what? Southwest is located in Texas, right? They're headquartered in Texas, so Southwest is going to be subject to this as well, which I don't think is a coinky dink, okay? That this comes literally right after these rumors of these pilots, okay, these workers striking, okay, because of the mandate. I don't think this is a coincidence from the Texas governor. Abbott also called on the legislature to pass a law with the same effect, promising to rescind the executive order once that happened. The legislature is in this year's third special legislative session, which ends October 19th. Quote, the COVID-19 vaccine is safe, effective, and our best defense against the virus, but should always remain voluntary and never forced, he said in a tweet announcing his latest order. Whew, people on the left will call him an anti-vaxxer for saying that the vaccine is safe, effective, and the best defense against the virus, but also saying that it should be voluntary and never forced. He would be classified as an anti-vaxxer, according to people on the left. The order marks a significant reversal after Abbott previously gave private businesses the choice to mandate vaccines for workers. An Abbott spokesperson said in late August that private businesses don't need government running their business. For weeks, Abbott has been under pressure from some on his right to go further in prohibiting vaccine requirements, and one of his primary challengers, Don Huffines, celebrated the latest order. All right, so here's the thing. Again, I think that this is going to end up being a huge battle in court, as you know, Biden is essentially trying to use the federal government to impose vaccine mandates, and certain red states are trying to use the federal government to ban vaccine mandates for everybody, right? Private employers, everybody. Okay, so again, this is kind of a big deal, right? It's kind of a big deal, and it puts Southwest in a very awkward position because now by Texas state law, they can't mandate the vaccine for their pilots, right? Which favors the union. However, if they want to comply with Biden and his order, they're at the very least going to need to ensure that they're following OSHA guidelines, right? So it may not necessarily be the vaccine per se, but they may have to do more testing, make sure that everybody tests negative all the time. They may have to shell out some money to cover this, right? So again, yeah, this is an interesting battle going on here between the union and Southwest Airlines, as they are still claiming that that has nothing to do with the cancellations and the slowdowns. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not this will eventually affect other airlines. Now, if other airlines start having, magical weather issues, then I think we can basically almost certainly say that there may be some worker issues, right? But up until now, they're still denying it. And there's no doubt in my mind that these pilots, if it is true that, they are striking, right? I don't know. Again, that's alleged. They could really put Biden's so-called mandate to the test, because if people can't fly, that not only has an impact on the business itself, like Southwest Airlines and these other airlines, but also normal everyday people, and most importantly, for the politicians, big corporations, right? Big corporations, big business, right? Taking business flights, right? So yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of power there with this union. Okay, and we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.